Welcome to Marvel Maniac, an MCU aftershow. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, back with you for another one of the Infinity Saga's greatest, one of Thor's, if not best, movie. Some might argue that this is the best movie of the MCU, outside or inside the Avengers. I personally love this. The movie we're covering today is Thor Ragnarok. And we are going to make it a quick, concise reaction type episode. Not doing like a recap. Any of my old fans and friends who listen to the podcast from the beginning might come in here expecting a recap, like me saying every line of the movie back to you. Not what I'm doing anymore. Not what I'm doing anymore. As a fellow listener to other things, podcasts and shows and whatnot, I'm changing it up. So if you like what's happening on the podcast, if you like the last 25 episodes, a fourth of our catalog has been made in the last 3 months, how are you enjoying it? Our listener feedback is in our About section or in the episode. So leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the show. It'd be great to hear from you. So I just love this. I love Thor in general. And I was always a big fan, even of Dark World. So to have this movie be part of Thor's trilogy, little did we know we get another Thor movie, and we will talk about that one day, not today. Taika Waititi had a lot of comedic timing and just energy to the whole thing, not just only him as Korg. He's the director of the film, but the fact that he brings himself in as Korg shows how passionate he is about the progress of this movie, and the process and the progress, and him in general probably just wants to be in it. He loves it so much. So I love his portrayal of Korg, and I think Korg's a fan favorite. We get to see him again later in another movie, which is fantastic. This movie has a killer soundtrack, a complete different tone from any other, not only Thor movie, MCU movie. It's kind of got this out of world soundtrack, and then on the outside of Sakaar, it is this very rock influence, almost Guardians of the Galaxy, but edgier type flow. And that movie, I mean that move makes the whole movie, in my opinion. It sets the tone for certain scenes, and I just love what Taika Waititi did with Thor. I know he came back for Thor 4, and I know it wasn't critically the best received. I saw it one time with a bad taste in my mouth, so I'm going to watch that again. We're going to talk about that again. We're going to revisit it. We're going to ask ourselves, is it really as bad as we think? Personally, I don't think so. Chris Hemsworth puts his heart into the portrayal of Thor, and I think he was maybe, I don't know, I can't speak for the man, but I think he was a little hurt when he heard about the, Love and Thunder and lack of love. To him, it was probably just part of the process. I could just stand up moment for me off the top of my head. If you want to ask me, it's got to be the Incredible Hulk jumping up to giant Surtur, destroying Ragnarok. I mean, just doing Ragnarok, and Hulk jumps up and tries to fight him, and he gets flinged off. And I just love Thor's reaction to that. He's like, "No, we're not fighting him," and he's like, "But big monster." That is a all-time one of my favorite moments. I've always said in the past, this movie shouldn't have promoted itself with Hulk at all. It would have been a really cool, really interesting cameo if we didn't know he was coming. Imagine that. But you gotta promote the movie, and he is a big standout feature in this movie. He's not really just a cameo, so to promote him in the trailer is only fair to Mark Ruffalo and the movie setting expectations for you. Personally, though, I think they could have promoted it without him, and we could have gotten a really awesome surprise, but that's behind us. All right. And this movie is one of many with my theory of why does the third movie in each franchise, not every franchise, but most franchises, I think 4 movies total now, start with a character narration. We got Deadpool 3, we got Iron Man 3, we got Thor 3, and there's one more. Ant-Man 3, Quantumania. Is there a secret Easter egg component to this, or is it just a big coincidence? I've learned in MCU coincidence is let's just say it's scarce. They plant a lot of Easter eggs. I just wonder if part of the consistency of their franchises, like something relies on them getting a narration from the character. I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting, I really love Loki in this movie. He is redeemed, and it took, I don't know, 8 years maybe at that point. I don't know, like 7 years. I don't know. But it's really cool to see this version of Loki. If you've ever seen the show Loki, you know what I'm talking about. No spoilers, but I mean, this is a different Loki. That's all I could say. And I like his redemption arc, and I like the moments he has with Thor. And it's a very complex relationship the two have together. And Thor still loves Loki under all of it. And at the end of the movie, they have a nice sentimental moment. Infinity War comes and stops this whole movies, and like Asgard isn't a place, it's a people. I mean, it's setting us up for that to be a very sad situation in that case, because the ship that lands in front of them at the end of the first post-credit scene, it's Thanos' ship. If you've seen Infinity War, I'm not going to say much yet. Maybe you're here for the first time. I'm pretty sure you're here for a reaction. We know what comes next, and it's horrible for the characters. It's insanely cool in a lot of ends for the audience. It's cool to see things come together, and it was like a finally type moment. Hello, fellow Marvel Maniac. How are you doing? Are you enjoying this episode? This is an ad from Eric, aka Mr. Honest. I just want you to know that in the About section of our episodes, there's a feedback box. You can send us your theories, your thoughts, anything that's not gruesome or horrible or mean. Also, there's a tip jar in the description as well. Donations are never expected, but always I'm always thankful for them. I have a way of saying that. Never feel obligated to do that, but I figured I'd just let you know. Anyway, if you're enjoying the episode, please rate it on whatever you're listening to it on. It goes the longest way possible. And if you're going to leave a review outside of our feedback box, let us know. Leave a positive review, and I will do my best to thank you on the episode for any type of review. Positive review, at least. All right, enjoy the rest of the episode. I got a little bit of a problem with Odin as a character, not Anthony Hopkins, bless his soul. Odin is a liar. I mean, what do you think about that? Like the whole thing where he actually was like a total galactic Thanos level villain with his daughter, evil daughter, taking over the 9 realms. And then he brings in an era of prosperity and peace, and Hela doesn't like that, so he banishes her. Oh no. And what else on top of all that? I'll just leave it to my other kids, when I die. It's up to them. Jeez, Odin, you were so noble and wise, and to judge Thor for being worthy in that first movie, thank God you did, because it was part of his character arc. But it's very harsh, man. It's very harsh, the lies that Thor has to learn. I don't think he doesn't miss his father, but I think he's in such motion in this movie that he'll probably have more time to think of that later. I personally, I'm feel a little betrayed by Odin. I just do, because he brought Hela, and Hela is a strong villain. Cate Blanchett brought it from the very beginning to the end. This movie's strange in structure, which works for it. Not too much against it, but a little bit against it, because we have the introduction of Hela. She breaks Thor's hammer, right? Then they go through the Bifrost, and Loki and Thor both fall out of the Bifrost into Sakaar. And Cate Blanchett as Hela comes back to Asgard and just takes over the course of the whole movie. And all the events at Sakaar happen while we know, oh my gosh, Hela is slaughtering all the soldiers. Like, it's insane, and it makes me feel like Thor's got to get home. So there wasn't much of a building of dynamic between the characters. There was only revelations of history, past, present. Not much to say, we fight now. Because at the end of the movie, it's the end of the movie, and Thor didn't have one moment with his sister except for the big moment in the, I think it was on the throne. He's getting choked out. He just lost his eye. She took his eye away. And oh my God, it's a revelation. And I realize, are you Thor, God of Hammers? Odin comes in with some advice to take down. A little bit owed, in my opinion. But Thor realizes, and his powers come to him, and his eyes turn blue, and he is so cool when he's fighting without a weapon. And it's even cooler to see him fighting with a sword, which he's making electrify things and stuff. My arms are up in the air in excitement right now. Valkyrie and Bruce, and I mean Hulk. They're Hulk and Valkyrie. Their dynamic was so cute. I loved it. I kind of like Hulk in this one. It gives me some theories that maybe Banner buries Hulk because he buried Banner. But they do form together into one Hulk in Endgame, as we know. However, I personally think Ruffalo is containing his real Hulk. I think the real Hulk is in there somewhere. Kind of like the 2 years that went by in this movie for Mark Ruffalo's character, Bruce Banner. 2 years he was the Hulk. And for him to see all of this, he's on an alien planet. Once we get his perspective, it's hilarious. Like, he's on an alien planet. Everyone's a giant fan of the Hulk. This movie's tone shifts, and it shifts for the better. It's got such a great vibe. It's a great, easy thing to say about the movie, but like, what I mean by that is, this is a movie about someone's civilization, someone's world, someone's planet, people's home being completely obliterated. So many deaths, right? But we can still listen to it with cool music, and it's going to come out really awesome and somehow positive by the end. Asgard is not a place, it's a people, despite all the hardships that the Asgardians went through in Thor, losing their home, to have Ragnarok be the answer and not the definitive tragic ending, which Hela was bringing. Ragnarok was the solution by Thor to take care of Hela, because Hela is the strongest villain I think we've seen in the MCU. I think she could take on Thanos. I think that was the only thing they could have done to defeat her. We saw her die on a scale of the Scarlet Witch dying. Very similar deaths from far away in a landslide of rock. There's a chance that she survived this, but I don't think she did. There's a chance that she did. Asgard's destruction was hard, except for the part when obviously Korg's like, well, this is a foundation we could build on top of. It's not all, and then the place blows up, and he's like, yep, those foundations are gone. Korg. Taika Waititi just doing the best. I love the Thor and Loki relationship. Like I said, those two guys have a lot of history, and to see what Loki did to Odin, he put a spell over Odin. And in my breakdown of Thor Dark World, I thought Odin gave Loki the throne off camera, but I forgot that the answer was in this movie because I only seen it a couple times. Man, I'm glad that I watched. I love going back to this movie. This was a ride. A hell of a ride before an even bigger ride. And Thor's most tragic story just starts in this movie. And it just continues to get more tragic. And we see the makings of a hero in this movie for Thor. A lot of character progress. And I think that's why Chris Hemsworth is so down to keep coming back and playing the role. This movie, the feeling that this movie brought people, the reaction to this movie, it was fantastic. The characters are fun. Even the character who holds those two guns at the end of the movie, and he was with Hela the whole movie. I don't have his name, but he was funny, and he brought comedic relief, and he also had a very dark role in what was happening and the destruction and the killing. And by the end, he wanted to be a hero, and he did to the best of his ability. He got killed by Hela eventually, and her big bad dog is really scary. I really love the line, "He's a friend from work," even though it was in the trailers. Again, I'm going to say this for a third time. I always say I'm not going to talk about the problem I have with the movie. They shouldn't have promoted Hulk in the movie. It would have been way cooler if he was just showed up in the movie. But I get it. At the same time, I get it. But, that's all. That's my only critique. This movie was great. The fight, that arena fight was really cool and very, maybe even yearned for in a sense, just to see Thor and Hulk go up against each other. Last time they fought was in the first Avengers, so this Hulk has kind of got a lot of pride. He hasn't been Banner in years. It's only Hulk, so he takes pride in being the champion. For the Grandmaster, who we should talk about for a minute, he's the brother of the Collector. I'm not sure where I've learned that from, but I just know that to be a fact. I'm pretty sure someone really cool told me that. But I liked him. I thought he was a good secondary villain. He was comedic. This alien world was run by just this weird guy and his sergeant lady who has this stick that melts people. They have a What If episode where Iron Man lands here on Sakaar and meets the Grandmaster, and right after he drops in the wormhole, that he misses it, so he doesn't go back to New York. He goes to Sakaar by accident, and wow, what a cool story that unfolds there. It's really fun. I would definitely recommend the show What If on any circumstance. This movie, it's a hand in hand with Infinity War because Thor is the closest thing to a protagonist on the side of the Avengers to being the main character, along with Iron Man. But this is Thanos' movie, so he's not really the main character, but Thor's arc is really projected by the end of this movie. We see the ship. We know what happens moments later. We know it's cool, yet sad, yet scary. And it sets the table. We don't know where it's going to go from there for a year. So I remember being in theater, seeing that moment. It was just hype because everyone wanted Thanos. We could not wait for Thanos. He's my favorite. So I think it's where the people end up of Asgard. We could talk about that later. I kind of like leaving it on the ship at the end of this movie. My thoughts on Thor Ragnarok overall. In this quick review, which I'm trying on, we've all seen it, right? We've all seen it. So it's just a reaction to the movie in general. So we all have the thoughts of the movie. We all know the movie. We all know if we liked or hated it. I wonder if there's a timeline somewhere where Thor and Hulk were on Earth for Civil War. Whose side would each of them been on? I think the Hulk would have been on Captain America's team. And I think Thor would have been on Iron Man's team because Thor is a god of thunder. He's not going to sign a piece of paper. He's going to see reason. Unless Cap convinces Thor. I don't know. Interesting thought, though, huh? Yeah, so like I said, my overall feelings for Thor Ragnarok, it's a solid flick. You could watch it as the Thor trilogy if you wanted. It's a lot of payoff for being a part of the franchise for a while. It stands on top of its previous films and all the other Avengers movies. It's everything you could hope for a solo Avenger movie and more. The team up, the engaging, exciting, crazy, powerful villain in Hela, who I want to see come back. We have Lady Death on Earth. We have Goddess of Death, Hela on Asgard. Who is taking the bodies? I want to know. I want to see a showdown. I don't want that to be the end of Hela. I hope we at least see her in the multiverse. She's referenced quite a lot in What If. Oh my God, she has such a great episode, Hela, in What If 2, season 2. You're gonna love it if you like Hela. So go look out for that. I don't know the name of it. I will be covering What If season 2. I will be covering it, and season 3, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to cover it because they're going to be releasing them day by day again for Christmas. So yeah, I've had the thought of doing every episode after show every day, but my mental might not be there for it. So we'll see on that one. I'm letting you guys know on the little secrets. I don't want to let you down. It might happen, and it might just be a full season recap after all the episodes there. Your mental health is most important. This is why I'm doing my episode this way, because if I'm being open with you as my audience, on my 99th episode, I have anxiety. A lot of us do. It feels good to break into a conversation about a world that I see coming to life when I watch the MCU. It makes me so happy. It makes me forget about my troubles. It makes the days go by when you're theorizing and just thinking. And this movie had everything you'd want in a threequel, and that's why they came back for a fourth one in Love and Thunder. And we take the good with the in quotes bad. I want to redeem that movie. I want to see the good in it. So it'll be a review somewhere down the line where we'll watch Thor Love and Thunder and talk about it. Same with Secret Invasion one day. Love the character of Valkyrie, them introducing her. She's older than Thor, I think, in this case, because it confused me at first because she's a part of the Valkyrie, but her name is also Valkyrie. She might be the last standing Valkyrie. So she really has a big entrance in this film, and she's got a lot of future ruling to do, shall we say. We'll see her again in Avengers Endgame. And apparently in Infinity War, you see a ship fly off at the very beginning, and that's them escaping. I've seen Infinity War a lot. I still haven't seen that, but I'll be looking for it. Because next week, this Wednesday upcoming, we will be talking on my 100th episode special, Avengers Infinity War. Me and my special guest go deep into Thanos, and we talk everything Thanos. It's not going to be your average Infinity War episode. It's going to be pretty Thanos based, I've decided, and we're going to do another episode for the full movie of Infinity War somewhere down the line, just because of how much I like it. Maybe for my birthday or something like that. But me and my guest have such a good talk about Thanos that it's going to be the centerpiece of the 100th episode. So come back next Wednesday, 11 p.m. Central Time, and that will be posted, and it will be the only one posted for a full week. So I won't be posting another episode until a week from that release. The last time, ideally, that I will be doing that, I want this 100th episode to feel special standalone, and I want it to be a treat for you, just as it was for me. Thank you for being here for my after show for Thor Ragnarok. I'm Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. And until next time, episode 100, Avengers Disassemble.